It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm really thank you for making the time to do this. I heard that you're traveling and you know
Yes,
running around doing a bunch of things. So I really appreciate you making the time to do this. We're
of
really
course.
really looking forward to your performance on Friday, December 17th. It's I can't tell you how thrilled we are. I know that you have a little bit of a Philadelphia background, being an astral artist and AVA.
Hmm. Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll start over. So I went to the Academy of Vocal Arts, and then in 2014, I joined the Astro Artist roster. So I was on their roster for 4 or 5 years actually, and then I'm now a laureate, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful time. I had a great time with AVA, and then also with Astro, this great network, this great community, this great family. I call them family. So it's been a wonderful time.
Fantastic. And, you know, I've been reading a little bit about you. You seem to have an incredibly busy past 2 years, especially despite the lockdown. It seems like as soon as there was like the possibility of things opening up, like your schedule just skyrocketed off. So, you've been doing opera
Thank the Lord.
stuff. Yes, but I mean, how has it been getting back to live, not just live performances, but in-person performances with an audience there? What has that been like?
Well, it's been interesting. So I started back, I mean, I did a number of outdoor concerts last year. I mean, by a number, I think I did 3 or 4. And then I did a lot of online things. My husband is an accordionist, and we have a duo for opera. So we were fortunate, we were blessed to be able to do a lot of the pre-recorded digital virtual recitals online together from our home. And then when things opened up, the first gig I had was with, well, no, the first one we did was actually with my husband. We did one of the musical storefronts at through the Kaufman Center in New York, and
Mhm.
that was still kind of, we were encased, we were inside like literally a storefront, and then
Mhm.
the audience was outside. But we didn't have masks on. We didn't have to wear masks, or at least I didn't. And then I did the first opera I did was with Pittsburgh Opera, Charlie Parker's Yardbird,
Mhm.
and that was actually the first time I had to have a mask on the whole pandemic. And
Wow.
it was a huge learning curve. Some of the gracious resident artists said, okay, no, you need to get these masks. Your cloth masks, I mean, they're, triple, quadruple layered, but you won't be able to breathe. And it mutes the sound a lot.
Mhm.
So that took some time, and that took some getting used to. And then we performed with the masks, so
Mhm.
that it always felt quite distant. We did the best we could with our bodies, and it was live streamed, and the people who watched, the audience members online, said that it was still wonderful. They could still hear our voices, but it is different. It's different when there's something in between you and the audience. There's a difference when half of your face is covered. So when I went to, I then did a requiem. I think it was maybe the Mozart requiem. And we didn't have masks, but then the choir was recorded. So
Mhm.
it was always
It's
an
always something.
element that was,
Yeah.
yeah. So the first full production was actually in Birmingham in the UK, and we did Das Rheingold, and that was no masks. All we have to be distanced and all this stuff. But it was nice to finally sing and get sound back in the hall, and to really hear my colleagues, and to hear live theater. I really miss live theater, and we had the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, this full live sound. It was incredible. It was incredible. So it's literally been, I went from these online recitals and kind of master classes to quasi kind of hybrid morphed, and then slowly we're getting into back into live theater. The last production I just did was it was Carmen with Opera North in the UK, and
Mhm.
that's been, we didn't have to wear masks during the rehearsals, but I chose to.
Mhm.
um, and so it was nice to take them off for the performances and sing into a theater and have an audience, and just hear applause, and
Mhm.
have some feedback. Most of the feedback was done online, but it was just, I mean, you could tell the audience was just joyful. We were joyful. I mean, to have that final together bow, and just look out at the orchestra and then to the audience, it just, I mean, It's definitely been missed. I mean, I must say that.
Does opera, but also does symphonic repertoire, and you're doing chamber music with us on Friday. How does your role as an artist and a performer on stage, what gears are you shifting to be, okay, now it's opera time, now it's chamber music time, now it's, choral time? Like, how do you switch those gears? Because some performers only do opera, some only do
Yes.
chamber music, some only do solo stuff. But someone
Mhm.
like you're doing a lot of different things, and you're doing them at a very high level. So what are you changing as you sit in each different, style?
I honestly, I don't think I change much. I earnestly and honestly believe that as a performer, our first and foremost job is to communicate, is to share. And so we are telling stories. So no matter the format, or the venue, or the presenting organization, I'm a storyteller. And so whether I'm telling the story via an opera or via Lieder, or, these symphonic works, I'm always telling a story. And for me, I mean, I love Lieder anyway. So I love these moments of intimacy with the audience, and that, you have the singer, or you have, even sometimes the instrumentalist is for me, it's that immediacy, that there's this immediate connection, where sometimes in opera it can be a bit removed, just because you're a little bit further back. And like you said, you have tons of people on stage, there are lots of people involved, and so you have to literally have to be further away so you can see everything. But for me, I don't think of shifting gears. I definitely plan differently, because usually for Lieder, I choose the program. So I go in and I think about the text, and what I'm saying and why I'm saying it at that moment. In an opera, I'm thinking about relationships. I'm thinking about interactions with the other colleagues, the other cast members on stage. You're thinking about the conductor. So what am I shifting as a performer? As, I guess, the inner performer, not much. But I guess the technicalities. In opera, you have the conductor, so it's not just me and how I'm feeling. Nope, we've set a tempo. The orchestra has that. You need to. Here's the beat. Let's go.
Yeah.
Or if your colleague, they might miss a beat, or they might. There are tons of things going on. You're thinking about staging, the lighting. The lights didn't happen over here, so let me move over so I can find my light. I have a quick change. Stage left. I need to get off stage. Don't dawdle. You're thinking about those types of things. In an evening of Lieder, I'm thinking, and don't forget, there's always the language. You're always thinking about what you're singing. Okay. And then sometimes you're thinking, all right, or if you're not feeling well, okay, now just turn it over. Okay. Focus. Okay. Usually sometimes you're a little bit sharp here. Let's ground ourselves, all these technicalities. In Lieder, you can have some of the same things, but it's just you. So, or just me as the performer, singing. But then you have the pianist, or if it's a chamber ensemble, you have the chamber group or the quartet. And that's a beautiful thing, because we are creating art, we're creating music together, and they're right there. So I say it's just me, but it's not. It's a duo, it's a quartet, a sextet, and this immediacy, the energy that we send each other in this kind of U shape, usually on stage, it's exciting and it's alive. And sometimes in opera, it can be, like I said, it can be a bit like, well, you've rehearsed this, here's the tempo. Now, mind you, with the fantastic conductors, you can live in the moment. You can totally say, today I feel free, and just go for it. And they're like, oh, and then at intermission, you'll get a note. But still, you're live and you're creating art in that moment. And symphonic works is similar, because you have this, the great orchestral sound, symphonic sound. You have the conductor, the maestro, maestra, and then there's the singer, or the soloist, I should say. And that's great too, because again, it's not you and other, colleagues trying to do staging and running around. You're literally standing and you're giving of your art. And then for some performers, it can be more vulnerable. In opera, you're not yourself. You're creating all these characters, and you're someone else. And even in Lieder, we create personas. We're bringing life to these stories. It's not me per se, but I am myself presenting these stories. Instead of in Carmen, I am Carmen. she had a life. She, there was another, there was a librettist there, there's a libretto, there's a full story. You know, there's text saying what she did. In Lieder, or in some of the symphonic works, it's my job as the performer to create the backstories, to create the connections between the songs or the melody, the Lieder. And that is the beauty, because I get to use my imagination. And actually, more specifically in opera, there is a stage director.
Yes.
So the music is handled by the conductor, the acting or the drama is handled by the stage director. And, so it's my job as the performer to take what they're giving me and to bring it to life on stage. So I, in essence, have to share. I have to take what they say. I have to take what they say, and then I can create. Whereas when it's me on stage, or a smaller number of us on stage, then I have the freedom to create how I wish. It can be my staging and my direction and my musical ideas. Of course, with the pianist or the quartet, we all work together, but there are less people. Like the maestro conducts, I don't know, 50 to 100 people sometimes. And so it's, of course, we all have to be together. It's a lot of people. But when you're so small, you can play a bit more.
It always, to me, opera always felt like a huge ship with, 40 different, crew members on it. And if you want to go a certain direction, you have to check with.
Yes.
Tell them that we're going over
that
there.
curtain will come down and chop. Exactly. You can't be there.
But chamber music always feels like, driving a Maserati or a Lexus, where it's like that. You can just go right over there. You can communicate really quickly with the other musicians.
Yes.
So it's to me, yes, it's intimate, but the excitement of split-second decisions that you can see musicians make on stage, or just reacting to each other. It could be the weather or the audience, the energy from the audience. And with chamber music, that possibility of the unexpected is there. With opera, you kind of know what you're going to get. you hope that.
Well, I was just about to say, yes. I mean, exactly, because traffic, you have to manage the traffic, But I was just going to say, you made a great point, that you can have these split-second decisions. So I say all these technicalities and things you have to go through, but honestly, you can make those decisions in an opera as well. It's just like you say, sometimes it might not be as quick, or the response time might not be as quick, because I can't go over there because there's going to be a prop, or there will be a set, or on a stage in Lieder, I mean, there is no set. So you can kind of walk around, but you don't want to be arbitrarily just wandering on the stage, So, but there is the freedom in live music. I will say that. And that is one thing that I have missed, and that I love, just getting back into creating, and that response. And sometimes, you'll have an orchestra that's just fabulous, and they will respond to whatever sounds you're making. And that is, for me, the ultimate, where there is no difference between the chamber and a full orchestra. I mean, that is a dream. Yeah.
Before we close out, we talked a little bit about narrative. Can you talk a little bit about the story of the program that we're going to experience on Friday, and maybe what audiences can listen out for? I know there's some really exciting composers on the program for this.
Yes. So we open with the Frauenliebend Leben. Let me get it correct. Frauenliebend Leben. Schumann, which is this beautiful story of a mother's journey. I mean, some people might say, why are we singing that in today's time? It has the viewpoint of the mother, the wife, this girl, she falls in love, the infatuation of young love. She goes through marriage and motherhood. She has a child, and then the husband dies. And this first pain, this loss that she blames him for, essentially. And for me, first, the music is phenomenal. The story is life. It is a story. It's it would be my story. I'm not claiming the last song where the husband goes on to. I'm not claiming that. But this young woman who fell in love and got married, and hopefully one day I'll have children. it's life, you know, it's someone's lived story. And I believe that it's worth telling, especially through such gorgeous music. And then you have myself as the storyteller, and Laurent Philippe, a brilliant pianist, French. It just, you have these different perspectives as well, helping to share this story, which I think is beautiful. And then we move on to Hernani Braga, this beautiful Brazilian set. It's actually called Cinco Canções. No, hold on, what is it called? Cinco Canções. Let me not mess it up, because my husband speaks Portuguese, so he'll be like, Crystal, what did you say? Okay, I'll not say it now, say it on Friday. I have to practice. But basically it's 5 Brazilian folklore songs of the Northeast. And they're fabulous. They're fun. They are have Afro-Brazilian rhythm elements. The first song, Okiniba, is of an African dialect. And so you have this, you go from this very kind of straight Schumann to this Afro-Brazilian feel. And then we move on to the second program. I wanted to do just bold, black, and beautiful, I am calling it. It's all female composers. We have a fabulous young composer, B.E. Boykin from Atlanta, Georgia. We have Margaret Bonds, Undine Smith Moore, Lena J. McLean, just pioneers in music, period. And their music is strong, it's reflective, it's important, and it's relevant to now. Some of these pieces are new or newer, and some were composed years ago. And it's amazing to me how they still speak to us. One of the pieces I'm singing is The Negro Speaks of Rivers by Langston Hughes. And, Margaret Bonds and Langston Hughes had this wonderful collaboration. And I still read the text, and I just go to myself, wow, even in 2021, we still have to pause and say, no, I'm going to let my light shine. I am who I am, and I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am great. And this is not in a proud or boastful manner. This is just speaking life to oneself. I and my people like me, we are fabulous. We are fierce, and we have so much to share. We have so much to say. We have traveled, we have seen great works, we have seen great things in the world. We have done great things in this world. And why shouldn't we celebrate that? Why shouldn't we let our light shine? Why shouldn't we revel in just who we are? And that happens to be fabulous. So I think of the songs, there's B.E. Boykin, it's actually selections from Moments in Thunder. And, in her preface, she says, these are just little snippets of moments in thought, in reflection. And they're short songs, but, they're just so impactful. So if there were moments in the program that I would have the audience listen to, it would be some of these reflections. They're just astounding. One of them says, because I want to live, that's the ending of the song. And it's, how apropos is that now? Yeah. How appropriate is it? Because we all just want to live, Mm-hmm. It's just this cry, this need, this desire for us to live, and not only live, but to thrive, to as a community, as a culture, as a people, to rise above. It's unfortunate, but it's usually a great tragedy that has to happen for people to come together and to rise above and to do something that they probably should have done hundreds of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And these songs just speak to it, literally. And then of course we're ending with spirituals. They're some of my favorite music. So I just, look for those.
Chrystal E. Williams, I'm so excited. The rest of us at the Philadelphia Chamber Music Society are so excited to see you on Friday evening at 7:30 at Benjamin Franklin Hall. The concert is going to be live in person, but also it is going to be live streamed, and we're going to keep it hosted for 72 hours afterwards, so folks can still watch it after the event has passed. I can't say enough about how excited I am. Thank you so much for your time today.
Of course.
And yes, and like I said, thank you, and we can't wait to see you on Friday.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.